Good morning, everyone. This is day 3 in the Kruger National Park in South Africa, but I gotta tell you, we're expecting today to be a lot different. Now, just a quick recap. We have had some incredible, amazing, epic, beautiful, just surreal wildlife encounters in the last couple days. Now, one of the things that we absolutely love to see are cats, and on day 2, late in the afternoon, we got some breathtaking shots of the cheetahs. But today's gonna be different. We're headed north and we're coming out of the high concentration of wildlife. We're getting into the boba trees and we're getting into, well, just some different stuff. So we're gonna explore. Tonight's our last night in the park. And guess what? Spoiler alert. We have to leave South Africa soon. We're running out of time. And this is the time when, well, it's time to go. But speaking of time to go, I got to get this bird right here.
Today, I think Curt has already told you, we need to start driving north to our next campsite, which is probably, if you were driving normal speeds and not on safari, a 3.5 to 4 hour drive. But before we did that, we went a couple of miles south of the camp we stayed at last night and did a side road. And that side road was filled with lots of cool stuff. Everything waking up in the morning, from zebras to wildebeests to bush bucks, a couple elephants in the distance, a Cape buffalo in the distance. We rounded up some video of some pretty cool birds, but lots of antelope and everything just roaming around and waking up, especially as we went by the water hole. Now, we are at the very tail end of dry season, so water is scarce in the park right now. And we've heard as we go north, it will get even more scarce. They've had a pretty dry run of it for a little bit here lately up north. Another thing that happens as we head north from our campsite from last night is the density of the animals is said not to be as good. Like, there won't be as many animals. Not that there's no animals, but they just won't be crowds of them from what we understand. And you may be wondering, well, why in the world are we even going up there? Well, Curt hinted to it. It's time for us to leave South Africa. So the plan was always to drive from the south end of the park to the north end of Kruger Park, which is huge. Millions and millions of acres, almost as big as the state of New Jersey. So we must drive north to exit the park at the very north end, which is where the border is, to take us to our next country. So we would have loved to have spent more time down in the south part of the park or the central part of the park where the density of animals are much, much more. But it's just not how the cookie crumbles. We must go north. Now, there's a silver lining to that. There won't be as many people up here. And just because the density is less, that doesn't mean there's no animals. So we are still looking as we head north to our next campsite.
It's like just flicking rocks to the side and branches to the side. I think this is one of their famous birds.
This is, yeah, the southern ground hornbill. I think that is.
Hornbill, yeah.
Has he got a little blue underneath his chin?
No, it's red.
Well, all red with a little blue on his, where his Adam's apple would be.
Yeah.
It's him.
I don't see any blue, but he hasn't really looked at me. He's kind of moving away. What you doing, little guy?
Want your big camera?
No, he's running. Is this a bridge you can get out on?
I don't know. It says there will always be clear signage if you can get out. It says that at every place I've gone. It said that when we were getting in the gate. It said that at every check-in. Oh, Impala down there. Yeah. You can get out on this bridge. Elephants. Good elephants.
Yeah.
Something we haven't really told you about Kruger National Park and all of these safari national parks, even the private ones. The rule is you do not get out of your vehicle. I mean, we're out here with lions and leopards and things that will kill you quickly. So that's just a rule. You do not get out. Most of them give you little optional places here and there where you can get out. Now, we had heard that those existed here in Kruger, but we had not stumbled up on one yet. And we just came across a really long bridge. And it said that in between the yellow lines on the bridge, you were allowed to get out of your vehicle at your own risk. So we got out, we took some walks around, we got amazing look at the elephants crossing the river, drinking with a pretty cool drinking technique that Curt caught on to.
Well, it was just so cool to be able to get out in the fresh air, feel the sun, and hear the noise. And these elephants, instead of drinking for the river, they would dig holes in the sand, and then they would drink that water. And I guess maybe it's like more like a filtered water than the water from the river. But they would each dig a hole, and then there was like a teenager, a baby, I'm not sure how old, but a little elephant was in mama's hole, and every once in a while she'd let them have it. But you could hear the sound of their big feet just as they were going through the water, and just being outside on the bridge. Also, we were looking a little bit down on everything.
Yeah.
So I could see some fish in the water. There was some fish eagles. And then there's these other predator birds that were flying over as well. And I think I got a little bit of a video from there. But it was cool. I think the only other mammals we saw, other than the elephants at the river, were the impalas, or as we've come to call them, cat food.
Well,
but it was cool.
Curt doesn't know that while he was filming the elephants drinking out of the hole, that a giraffe walked by in the distance. Now, he was out in the trees, but I was locked onto him because if he would have come up to the water, I would have been all over that. I really want a good shot of the giraffes bent down with their legs out straight, drinking the water at a good angle. Now, we've seen a few little shots here and there that we got the other day, but that would have been the perfect time. But he turned back into the woods. He must not have been thirsty, and we did see tons of birds, but the star of the bird show was sitting right next to us.
Yes.
On the bridge rail was a giant kingfisher, and he was just looking around, checking everything out. Is every once in a while his little hair on the top of his head would stand up a little bit, and you could just see, we were so close to him, you could see every little bit of detail of him. And we have seen kingfisher birds all around the world, and we had heard of this giant kingfisher, but we had not seen him here in Africa yet. We can cross that off our list.
Ooh, that was huge.
Yeah, no pun intended. Huge, giant kingfisher. But we got back in the van, we're on the road again, we're back into the territory where the cats can eat us, so the doors are closed, and as we're driving down the road, some cat food walks right in front of us.
We also sometimes just call it meat.
All right, guys, we're looking for animals, and we're headed to where we think we might take a lunch break. We'll see.
So we came off the bridge and around the corner, and all of a sudden we found ourselves driving along the river, and we had gone up a little hill, And so you just had some nice little peeks through the trees, and then occasionally there were some openings. Now there was one spot where we could get out of the car, a nice scenic overview, really sweet. And as you look down the river, you can see all these little islands of patches of green grass, and well, a lot of that wildlife gets on those little islands, chews on the grass, or just sits there and relaxes. And really cool. We got up the road and just all sorts of little spots like that where we could just poke the camera through the trees and see the different animals. It was mostly impalas, and we did see some water bucks. And the water bucks, you can tell because they got like a dark circle around their butt, almost like a bullseye. And then they've kind of got these, they're little curved horns, and then they've got longer hair than a lot of the other antelope. Anyway, I digress. It was really, really a special moment. And then we came around the corner and the river was gone. And all of a sudden we found ourselves in all these trees, and the trees have no leaves. And people were telling us up here it was really, really dry. And it's really, really dry up here. You come along and there's 0 leaves, and then occasionally you get a tree with a leaf on it. So it is dry up here. The grass is super brown, and yeah, we're having fun.
buddy. What you doing?
All right, we are about 30 to 40 minutes away from our camp for tonight. And I'm going to butcher this name, but it's called Shingwedzi Rest Camp. So far, they've all had nice, clean facilities. They come with restaurants. There's a reception where you check in. And there's also been huts and little little cabins that you can rent if you're not traveling the way we do. Now, I don't remember the exact price, but for all 3 nights, to pay for our camping fees and to pay for the conservation fee, which is basically the park entrance fee for the 3 days, cost us around $275 US. So to us, that seems pretty good with everything we've gotten to see. But I wanted to make sure I took a minute to tell you guys all of that about the camps. came in down here. Good morning from just outside of Shingwedzi Rest Camp. Our last day, and it's really only a half day because we're headed north to exit the park. And we were oh my, I'm too excited to even tell y'all what's going on. I'm too excited to even tell y'all what's going on, but you are seeing it right now. 3 lions just walking along the riverbank. One just sat down. What an incredible sighting to start our last day in Kruger. Oh my gosh. Oh. So there's 2 males and a female. One of the males laid down. Curt's gonna stay with him. They're going too far away. And I'll tell you if they stop. Yeah. 1 male and 1 female kept walking along the riverbank. And it's a little too far for us to see him. We can turn around and chase him if Curt wants to, but it's gonna get crowded, and we got a perfect shot of this male.
Gotta be a water hole here. Shot.
Meanwhile, the impalas just keep coming. All right, guys, it has been an exciting morning, and kind of what we've done, we've got off some gravel roads here, and we're snaking along this little dry riverbed. And earlier this morning, first thing, we have that beautiful look at those lions. So this is quite a bit further north on that same riverbed. But we are just fired up. We've seen the African buffalo, and we just spotted a baby owl. And I think it was either an eagle owl or a fish owl. We got the mama, but we definitely got the fuzzy baby. We've seen elephants. We had a magical elephant crossing. They're everywhere. So that's 3 of the big 5, guys. So we need a rhino and a leopard to close out the big 5. But the nice thing about riding along this river, and I should also say this area has definitely gotten greener, but riding along this river, we have real good visibility. And every once in a while, you come up to a place where there's a little water pool left in the river. So it's not 100% dried up. It's like 95% dried up, or 99. And you see the animals gathered around the water holes. And we're just hoping, fingers crossed, that at one of these water holes or along one of these shores or one of these trees or somewhere we can spot a leopard. We're not greedy. We'll take anything we get, but we would really like to close out the big 5 in here in Kruger. And after seeing those 3 lions this morning, we are fired up and ready to go. But we're leaving the park today, so today's our last chance. And I just got the tap. Snow might see something.
Pull up. Let's see if we found something else, guys.
All right, we're coming up through here, and we're seeing a lot of stuff, guys. This is amazing. But this is a big herd of the African buffalo. And this is really something we've seen several. I mean, we've seen a lot of them, but we've never seen a big herd like this. And they're all out in front of the road. And we also haven't seen any babies until now. And I don't know how old these water buffalo babies are. They're so big. But we've got a buffalo jam.
We've been sitting here for about 10 minutes. This is an extremely large herd of these buffalo. And they just keep coming up the hill. I mean, we're just watching them come up the hill from the riverbed.
We can't see it, but I think right below us, I think there's a big water hole.
Yeah.
Because they keep coming, as Snow said, they keep coming up there. We also saw zebras just walking across the sandbar like they were coming from the water hole. So I think right below us, there must be a fairly decent sized water hole.
Yeah. Now, these aren't like a herd of zebras or a bunch of impalas. We don't just film them for a little bit and then to keep driving through, because these guys are some of the most dangerous animals on the planet. They are angry, they are defensive of their territory, And you can see a few of them will stop and give us these scary looking stares, especially the ones that look like the larger ones, maybe the males or the bosses. So we are stuck here until these guys clear the road. And there's about 5 cars here with us. But it wouldn't be like some of the cattle jams, we came up on coming down through West Africa. You don't just ease your way through these. I've seen video clips of them, headbutting cars, ramming them. They are very, very aggressive. So we stopped back a little ways. We're shooting with our big cameras so we can zoom in. As cool as they look, and they even sound like cows, but they do not behave like cows. So we will sit here for however long it takes for these guys to move on and clear the road.
Babies are coming across. Got another one coming. There's some balance in it.
We've now been sitting here for about 25 to 30 minutes. One of the cars that was with us has decided to get a little closer and they're going to try to go through. There's also a car coming in the other direction. Now the amount of buffalo crossing the road has slowed down. So if these cars get through safely, we will head on through. But you can definitely see they stop and give them a stare down as they're crossing the road. But we pulled up a little closer, and Curt was able to get a view down into the riverbed where there's several elephants, and there's not really much exposed water that we can still see. But the elephants are doing that technique we saw yesterday where they're digging some holes and finding some water. Now there's also a couple of carcasses down there from these buffalo. So water's getting scarce in this part of the park for these animals. And you can kind of see the results of that. We scooted up about 25 more feet. Curt got a better look down into the riverbed where there's still more water buffalo or Africa buffalo or Cape buffalo, whatever you call them, down in the riverbed. And there is a little bit of water there. So that's why I think you see so many of these buffalo here. But we've seen buffalo throughout the park, but never a herd like this. This is a lot of buffalo. All right.
Cars.
Yeah, there's a break. Go while there's a break. We're still thinking about it. They haven't quite cleared.
Where you going, dude?
There's so many of them back in there. They're still going up here too. We finally made it through the buffalo jam.
Yeah.
We're about halfway through this loop along the river, and it has been a beautiful morning. There are just elephants everywhere along the side, down in the riverbed. So much to see. The heat of the day is approaching us, though. It's supposed to be another hot one like it was yesterday. We're kind of in a couple of day heat wave stretch through here. It's getting up over 100 degrees Fahrenheit. And the animals will be looking for shade early. But this loop has been really, really good.
Speaking of the heat, it's just a reminder to you guys that we are continuing to head north towards the equator. And right now we're definitely less than 100 miles from the Zimbabwe border. So we are getting closer to the equator, which means, guess what, guys? Our beautiful spring weather is coming to a close.
We took a tiny little side loop off of our loop road. Something big flew by us, so we stopped. We were able to see where it landed, and it was an owl. She was hidden pretty good though, behind some leaves and stuff. But then as I was scanning the tree, there was another one right there. So we had to pull out the book. We got such a good look at these owls that we were able to pull out our book of all the birds and animals in Kruger. And we have determined that this is, I don't know how to say it, the Verreaux's eagle owl. And they have the coolest little eyelids. I mean, they're just kind of epic. So Curt's got them on the big camera. And it's just really a cool little thing to get to spot an owl like that. That's just luck that it flew when it did.
Woo! What an amazing day it has been today. And we have made it, guys. We have made it to the north end of Kruger Park. And we are just a few kilometers from the exit. And all of a sudden, and I'm going to pronounce these wrong, we started seeing the big, Snow says, bow trees, boba trees, bobo. Anyway, they are giant. They are beautiful. I think the last time we saw these was maybe Senegal or the Gambia on our way down in through Africa. So it's been a while. And a lot of these trees do not have leaves on them. A few of them do, but they are giant and impressive. And as we leave the park here, woo, we're coming into a little more hilly, mountainous area, so to speak. But just like everywhere, it's dry. And just like everywhere in this park, as we travel along the rivers or anywhere there's a water hole, is where we see an abundance of wildlife. So the zebras, every once in a while, you kind of see them out there in the thick stuff a long way from the water, just chewing on these old dead trees. But for the most part, it gets pretty scarce when you get away from the water. But it's been an amazing time here in Kruger Park. We have seen so many things. If you guys are watching closely, you know all the things we saw, so I'm not going to review those. Woo! If you like this Kruger series, please don't forget to hit the thumbs up. And yeah, guys, we're always excited when you join us on the journey, and we really hope to see you on the next one.
Yeah, something big happens on the next one. It's time for a new country.
We're headed to Zimbabwe. Let's go, guys.
Cheers!
If you like this video, be sure to subscribe to our channel and hit that notification bell so you guys know when we put out new videos. And don't forget, you can always follow us over on Instagram to see what's going on in between videos. Cheers, guys!